Welcome to Greek for a Week. I am glad that you have decided to view this week's video. This week we are beginning a new section of the book of First Peter. It is chapter 1, verses 13 through 16, which really, this paragraph can go all the way through to probably verse 21, but I'm going to decide here, probably even moving forward through the rest of the letter, just to make some of the paragraphs a little bit smaller than even the last paragraph that I looked at. If you recall, I believe I did chapter 1, and then I think I did verses 3 through 12. And that was a rather large chunk of information. So I think I'm going to kind of bring it down a little bit and do smaller paragraphs. So this one's Hope and Holiness. Hope and Holiness. Chapter 1, verses 13 through 16. And here today, this week, we're going to look at verse 13. All right, so Peter says, therefore, by girding up the loins of your mind, and by being sober-minded, set your hope completely on the grace that will be brought to you at the revelation of Jesus Christ. So let me begin with the connector. The conjunction, the dia here. This particular conjunction I'm suggesting here, which I think is mostly the case as far as how it functions, it is really indicating that chapter 1, verses 1 through 12, is the motivational grounds for the following imperative. And this is the following imperative, which is el pisate. So basically, Peter's saying, what I said in the previous 12 verses, therefore, based upon that information, what I'm asking you to do here in verse 13 is to set your hope. So the dia makes the connection, and it indicates the motivational grounds, which is the previous 12 verses, and then now you have a following imperative. The ana zo samanoi. That is a participle, aorist middle participle, masculine nominative, plural, and that is a participle of means. So the means by which you set your hope on the grace is by girding up the loins of your mind. Then you have another participle, ne phantes. Okay, ne phantes. That also is a participle of means. The means by which you can set your hope on this particular participle would be by being sober-minded. Present active participle, masculine nominative, plural. Then we come to el pisate. This is according to Dubus in his Baylor handbook on 1 Peter, he suggests that this is the first bona fide imperative of the book. This is a second person plural aorist active imperative of el pizzo. Again, this is also starting a new unit with the dia, the connector there. So now he's saying here, all right, set your hope on. Now, what am I to set my hope on? And that's kind of what the epi prepositional phrase begins here. This epi here serves as a preposition that introduces what it is that you are to set your hope on, which is Karen, which is the grace. And then what specifically about the grace, which I think is neat here, you have a adjectival participle here, tain, fare, menain. This participle, attributive participle, it's attributing the fact that it's going to be brought to you, and what is that's going to be brought, and that is the grace. So both of those being accusative, this participle here being a present passive participle, feminine, accusative, singular, of pharaoh, which again I think is modifying the grace that's going to be brought to you. And then, of course, the last prepositional phrase that begins with the preposition "n" is temporal. That is when it will be brought to you, and that is at the revelation of Jesus Christ. So we've started a new paragraph this week. Trust it was helpful for you. That was verse 13 of 1 Peter chapter 1. Have a great week.